He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how is a very popular quote by Friedrich Nietzsche, and it's been referenced in countless, countless examples. Uh, what I love most about that quote is the almost part, because there is no guarantee that anything that you bear, that you struggle with, that there's going to be something that you can deal with, but you still have to make your attempts. And as often as it's been referenced, where I first saw that quote was in Viktor E. Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. And if you haven't read this book, it's an extremely insightful book. It's not a very long read, but there's a lot of guidance. There's a lot of great points and wisdom in this book. And what it talks about, without giving too much of it away, is Viktor E. Frankl was in concentration camps for 3 years during World War II. And what he talks about is what people were able to bear and struggle with, and yet through their horrific struggles and the atrocities that they had to witness and endure and go through, and when they even knew that their fate was sealed based off of where they were in these concentration camps, which for millions it was, they knew what was going to happen. They knew where they were going to end up at the end of the day, at the end of the week, however it played out. Even with that known 24 hours, you know how this is going to end. People found purpose and meaning in their suffering, in their guarantee of not being here anymore. They found purpose in these things. And if you can even imagine such a thing, that someone put in that example, in that situation, found some sort of purpose and meaning to where they walked to the end, or were entered or put to the end with a sense of peace, a sense of understanding, and was able to endure such nightmares that most of us will never ever have to, hopefully never have to go through. And he himself, the author Viktor Frankl, speaks after his surviving this and being liberated from these camps, and what he took with him, and what he took from the survivors, and what he took from people who didn't survive, and understanding that how strong and how comparable people can be when they put their mind and they take a second and pause and understand that the things that you're bearing, that you're going through, that if you can assign, like I've said before, to exhaustion, purpose and meaning to, if you don't skip that step and you give it something, that you will find your way through it. But like Friedrich Nietzsche said, the bearing part, the almost part, there still is no guarantee. Because a lot of time in this industry, that there's pressure even from us to give you a guarantee that you're guaranteed your attempts. You argue that during the guaranteed attempts that you have, there's going to be success in it. That's just not true. Now, that's not a very good marketing ploy. It's not a good way to advertise your business, that, hey, you're going to come in here, bust your ass, work your ass off, have to schedule around your family, your children, before work, after work. You're going to have to find a better way to sleep, more efficient way to sleep, to recover from your hard work, if that's what you're going for. How you eat, you got to eat better. You got to pay for more groceries. You got to buy more groceries. You need more protein. You got to buy more protein. You got to store more protein. You have to burn and have underdone protein as you make your attempts at how to cook. And you got to do this thing for a long period of time, especially if what you're trying to do is performance based, especially if what you're trying to do is weight loss based, or even gaining muscle based. You have to do all these things that you have to bear to go through these to reach some certain goal. And there still is no guarantee. You can almost, I like the almost part. There's no guarantee to what you're going to do. And I think people need to hear that more often, because even with not a guarantee, you still need to make the same attempts at it. You still need to assign the same purpose and meaning to these things, even with not having a guarantee, and still put forth the same amount of effort as if there was a guarantee, with the same enthusiasm as you try to figure these things out, as you make your failures, as you fall short, and still have more of awareness of, like, okay, well, where did I go wrong? Or where can I make improvements? How do I get better? As the body adjusts and adapts, and maybe you've gone to a point where you've made some progress and now it's stuck. Now what do? Now you got to keep pushing forward. I've worked this hard and you got yourself to this level. Now I got to go a little bit further and keep this behavior up, especially as it pertains physiologically to the body, because it doesn't just sit still. It's either getting better or it's getting worse. And you got to figure out what side of that spectrum that you want to be on, how you produce and try to get out of the side that's not doing better and keep going to the side that's doing great. And why all this, right? Like why all this deeper meaning into things when it comes to working out? Because, and the reason why is, what you hope people land on is this stuff, all this behind me, Hopefully it becomes nothing. Hopefully it becomes autopilot. You do all these things and you understand your why, and you understand your purpose and your meaning and why you're doing it and why you want to bear certain things and why you want to struggle through certain things and suffer through certain things. And if this can become autopilot where you don't think about it, you just do and you have an understanding, it allows you to do other things. You don't want this vehicle you have to live in forever to be a constant burden. And it's a constant burden for people. They're trying to figure out what's the best way to do this, what's the best way to eat, what's the best way to work out. And they can't find it. And it may be sitting them right in front of them, but they don't want to struggle and bear and suffer through the things that need to happen. But through that and assigning purpose and meaning to it, maybe this becomes something you don't think about anymore. Now you can go do other things. This is the vehicle you have to do all your aspirations in, all your goals, all the time you want to spend with your family, the things you want to do in your career, the things you want to do for yourself. This is the vehicle that has to be done. And if it's doing well, if it's prospering in a way where you don't have to think about it because you've assigned the purpose and meaning to all the struggles and the sufferings that have to go through it, as it goes through its up and downs, as you age, as you go through injuries, as you're tired, as you're exhausted, as you're stressed, all these things, these things in here, whatever it is, dumbbell, the pull-up rack, this sled I'm sitting on, becomes some inanimate tool that gets you through this tough existence that you have to battle through. And if this thing that you have to walk around in forever is not a burden to you, what you will be able to do mentally, emotionally, physically, but this garners so much of the attention for a lot of people. What it looks like, how it's feeling. Now it doesn't feel it. Now I got to pay for it. Health insurance, chiropractor, physical therapy, surgery, you name it. All of a sudden, this thing becomes 60%, whatever percentage, high percentage of your attention and your resources and your energy. And a lot of that, for a lot of people, is trying to make sure that it doesn't become that, is assigning some purpose and meaning to the struggles and sufferings that you're going to go through when you have to use it. Or if you don't use it, and what happens then? So if you can assign that, you can find that, and you can hear people and other examples like Viktor Frankl or Friedrich Nietzsche, these people who went through tough times and difficult times, and countless other authors and people who have had their experiences. You can hear their stories and apply, but like, oh, what they went through, and not in a comparative way, not saying that someone's suffering is more or less than anybody else. And Viktor Frankl talks about that in his book. His suffering in his concentration camps was not greater than what you go through in your daily life and the stresses you go through. It's not greater. You still need to find the purpose and meaning in all of it. And if you can find those things, the burden of the physical form of the human body may cease to be the issue for you.